So we're gonna do manual mode now. So whether you use manual mode or auto mode, you're always gonna use the auto store button. It doesn't matter which mode you use to set them down, you're always gonna use auto store because there's no real brain needed in that part. So all you have to do is push the auto store button. Everyone clear all the way around?
Clear, clear, clear.
What it's going to do is it's going to start to bring the vehicle back down onto its own suspension, onto the frame rails when the airbags are dumped, which they raised it pretty high right now. You'll notice that the yellow lights came back on, indicating we're going back to a leaning position. The jacks are all going to start retracting at this point. Once they're all the way away, the little red lights will be gone, the blue blinking light will go away, the travel mode light will come back on. Now, if you read the HWH manual, which once again I always recommend that you do, it will say that this system can take upwards of 10 minutes for them to fully retract. Being in these Arctic conditions that you could possibly be in, the fluids inside these get pretty thick, so bringing them back up, it's going to take a little bit more time because it's got to shove all that fluid back into the main reservoir tank. So it's going to take a little bit of time. So don't panic if it's taking a little bit of time. Just give it the time it needs, and it will stop when it needs to stop. All right, so let's say we are parked on a hill. We know we're parked on a hill. We do not want to use the auto level mode, or just like you saw outside, one of the jacks did not fully extend, or let's say we fully extended all the jacks and one of my tires was off the ground. Well, I'm going to go over all of those situations right now. So it is clearly stated the up arrow is extend, the down arrow is retract. Do not think of it in any other way other than that. So don't think that if you push the down arrow, you're extending the jacks down. People always think that's what it refers to, and what they end up doing is they're saying, well, I'm pushing the up button and my jacks didn't go up. Well, that's because you lifted the vehicle up. You're extending the jacks. So think of it as lifting the vehicle or lowering the vehicle. It's the best way to think about it. All right. Either start with the left side or the right side. It doesn't matter what side you start with. Typically, though, you start with the sides that are worded as they are. So I have an extend button. For the driver's side, I'm going to push and hold until I feel and physically see that all two jacks on that side are extending. So pushing the left-hand side is going to do both left. So I'm pushing, holding. Once I feel them touch the ground, you just stop. Now, I've done this a couple times. I can typically tell when they hit, but because the air is not fully dumped, get a little bit. There's one. And keep holding. Keep holding. Takes a little bit of time because it's got so far to go. It's not lifting, is it? There we go. I think I felt one hit, didn't I? Oh, now we're hitting. All right. Now we're going to do the right side. So press and hold to extend. Yep, so it has a pressure switch built into it. So once one touches, it stops that jack and then goes to the other one. Once they both touch, then it extends them both at the same time. So even though I have red lights on, you may notice that one's not touching yet. Don't panic, just press and hold until it touches. Now, it may seem like this is taking longer, right? But it's not. It's taking pretty much the same amount of time, but you have all the control over it. So we're going to act like that touched. I think it might have, right? So you have all control over the jacks, how far they touch the ground. So let's say you notice, like we just did, one of the jacks is not touching, right? What you can do is you can actually adjust it a little bit. So let's say the front one wasn't touching. Push and hold the front one a little bit. It'll bring the front up. If you want to bring the back up a little bit, bring the back up. So you can chase these lights a little bit, but you're not trying to make them disappear. If you do try to make these disappear and you're parked on a hill, what typically happens is you lift the tires off the ground. Now, this parking brake that we set goes to those rear tires. If we lift them off the ground, we are on two front free spinning tires and basically a set of skis. This thing will roll forward. it will cause damage to the vehicle, and you are in for a world of pain. Now, let's say we got outside and we noticed that one of the tires was off the ground. All you have to do is use the retract arrow to bring that side back down till they touch. So if I wanted the right side to come down a little bit, just touch it just for a second. That simple. Pretty straightforward. Now, once they're on the ground and touching, that is all you're trying to achieve. So at this point, you can technically stop leveling the jacks and you can go finish setting up the vehicle in the rear. Now, for the rear slide out rooms to work, they run off the same HWH computerized pump. So you do need to make sure the key is in the ignition, preferably running, so always running. If you turn this off and you go back there and try to run the rooms out, they're not going to do anything. So that's just my little words of advice, and we'll go over that when we go into the rear of the vehicle. So I'm going to pause right there as well.